What's going on, everybody? My name is AJ Crenshaw. I am the co-founder and creative director for Project Azalea. Project Azalea is an online magazine and a digital media platform. We focus on three things: engage culture, restore imagination, and influence greatness. So everything that we do, every article that we produce, every project that we create, every event that we host, have to somehow pertain to those three taglines. Also, I operate as a freelance photographer, freelance videographer, somewhat graphic designer, just all things creative, all things digital arts. And so, creating this video for a good friend of mine, Alexis Nord. Shout out to Miss Avenue Nord. And she asked me to talk about creative copyists and my experience with dealing with people who have necessarily took some artwork or a piece of my work and claimed it as their own. And I got a few instances that I could think of, and the first one off the top of my head would be back in 2015 when we launched Project Azalea. It was we set up these interviews with a lot of different businesses, different artists, different entrepreneurs, different musicians, and we put in the work, we put in the time, we put in the energy to schedule photo shoots and interviews and all this other stuff, and we had to edit all that material. And from that moment was a extremely sensitive moment for me and my team, because it was the beginning, it was the start of something. We had created something from the ground up, so we were extremely sensitive about the stuff that we put out there to the world, about the stuff that we produced. And during that time, an article came across Facebook of a business that we had featured in the past. And so when I clicked on the article, I began to read it. It was decent. And if you pay attention to like articles in the digital world, across social media, on the internet, you start reading, there's this huge photo at the top, right, to capture your attention. As you read and as you scroll, more photos pop up. You might have a photo right here, words, photo right here, words, photo in the middle. And as I scroll throughout the article, I would get to one photo and I was like, that photo looked familiar. And then I read, and I get to another. I was like, that's our work. And I read, and by the time I got to the end, their entire article was had all photos that our photographer took. And when I seen it, I got it mad. I was like, yo, you can't be doing this. Like, oh my God, I'm finna call my legal team. We finna put a stop to that. I'm finna sue this person. All that good stuff. Like, I was heated. I was ready to go to war. I wanted them to take the article down. And it's the beginning stages. I'm sensitive, right? That's my work. Like, you claiming it as your own. And I think now it's like, if that particular situation had happened to me today in 2020, I wouldn't trip. I feel some type of way. I feel, look, like, hey, you can't do that, But I wouldn't necessarily go out the way to get them to take it down. I might write them a nice email appreciating them for admiring our work and our content so much to where you would want to use it as your own. I would let them know the laws behind copywriting infringement. And also I'll say, you know what, you can keep the photo up as long as you give credit to Project Azalea or to myself or whoever created it. And then if they deny that, then we could go further into those legal stages. But when it comes to art, me personally, I feel like art was created to be shared. Why create some work if you can't share it with the rest of the world, and if they can't use your work, right? And so the only time I have issues with it is when you doing it for monetary value, right? So if I take some photos, if I create something, if I write an article and you take it and you using it, claiming it as your own, And not only claiming it as your own, you're trying to gain monetary value off of it. You're selling it as if your own. Then we got a huge problem. And so if it's lacking the monetary issue part, then 9 times out of 10 I might let it roll off my back. I might just contact them and let them know that I seen it, that it was wrong, and they can keep it up as long as they tag, post a link of where you got the photos from. Because now it's cross pollinate, right? So your fan base, your audience are now being exposed to Project Azalea or me personal photography and things like that. So each situation was similar to that first one. Just trying to figure out, okay, are they doing this to gain monetary value? Are they using it to highlight themselves and glorify themselves and things like that? But like I said, if it doesn't pertain monetary issues, then 9 times out of 10 I just contact the person and say, hey, like, you need to fix that, like, But I'm gonna let it slide. So yeah, some advice on it. Like, don't be discouraged. It's art. Why do we create art? Artists create art. Photographers take photos. Some may say to make living, but essentially the majority of photographers, the majority of artists, they do it because they love it. Because they want somebody to see their work, judge their work, talk about their work in whatever way, whatever format. And so I think that I can get why a lot of people may be, ticked off or pissed off about the situation, and I understand it. But at the end of the day, ask yourself why you create the art. Now, I'm not giving any excuses to people out there going around stealing folks' stuff and using it. Nah, that's wrong. But at the end of the day, are you willing to sacrifice for the moment to gain more? And there's a saying, imitation is the highest form of flattering, or something like that. And so I get flattered by it. I chuckle, I laugh about it, and I let it roll off my back. When they start doing it without your permission and trying to gain money from it, then we got an issue. Other than that, man, don't be discouraged by people copying you. That just means you dope. You good. You dope enough. Your work is dope enough for somebody to look at it and say, ooh, I want this. I want to do this. I want to say this. I want to take photos like this. I want to edit like this. I want to write like this. I want to produce content like this. Like, you're dope, right? And so if you truly are operating within your purpose, there's nothing nobody can do that's going to keep you from being successful within your craft and within your purpose. I think that's the main thing. I understand who I am. I understand why I created my business. And so because I understand that, I know nothing in this world can take away my purpose. Nothing in this world can detour me from operating within my purpose. And when you understand that, it's, you become less offended and more flattered when people imitate or copy your work. So yeah, man, be encouraged. Like, don't trip. Now if they're trying to get some money from it, trip. Call your lawyer, all that, woo. But if it's just for them to post on social media, YouTube, their website, their blog, recreate a t-shirt that you designed, some piece of clothing, take your style, just smile at it, man. Take it as flattering. Take it as a compliment. That's it. Like I said, I'm AJ Crenshaw. Thank you, Miss Avenue Nord. Thank you for allowing me to speak a little bit. Thank you for asking me to speak a little bit about my experiences. It's late. We quarantining, so I'm going to hop off and I'm going to get to work, man. Peace.